Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Entangleism, The Small Science and Big Art of Loving Your Life, is out and available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Sidney Jackson, who serves as president and CEO of the famed Chicago Sinfonietta. Sidney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. So good to finally make the show. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so great to talk with you. I've obviously been able to have the, honor and ability to see your work in our field over the years, which has been tremendous. And more recently in New Jersey. And of course, now in this pivotal role with the Chicago Sinfonietta. So I thought for our audience first, it might be great for you to just kind of share your sense of Sinfonietta, its role not only for the city of Chicago, the region, but also nationally.
Yeah, so again, I'm so excited to be joining Sinfonietta here. I spent a lot of time in social justice work, actually. I'm a singer by trade. I went to school to be a professional opera singer. So this is an award kind of at the merger of my two loves. And I started singing classical music because I wanted other Black and brown humans to know this was an art form for us, and fell in love with it and have been on this journey for a really long time. So, for me, I, I feel as though I embody what Maestro Paul Freeman set out to do 38 years ago, when there was no E, no I, no D, no acronyms, no nothing, but just his experience in meeting Martin Luther King in the Atlanta airport in the middle of the morning, at like they were both there at like 2 a.m. and how that he didn't start it right then. It happened shortly after, but he knew that it was his duty to do that. And so for me, what I often you will hear me say is that we are a guardian of the movement and should act as that, right? And to ensure that stages are really diverse, that the music, we have less and less hidden figures, so to speak, of the global majority here in classical music. Because again, we've been doing this for a while, knocking on doors, right? And so, it's important for an organization like Chicago Sinfonietta to really think of itself similar to the African American Museum in DC, or the African American Museum of Music there in Nashville, that this, although housed and created here in Chicago, we actually have a service and a duty to the rest of the world. Yeah.
It's such important work. And obviously, this role, as you mentioned, that Sinfonietta plays goes far beyond, if you will, the majority of direct audiences.
hmm
And of course, Paul's role and all the historical recordings and things that he led, obviously, it's just plays such a role in our field. So I'm curious, a couple of things I do want to ask kind of about specifically for Sinfonietta, how you feel it's kind of operating in this current environment. But first, I thought I'd just kind of back out, and more generally, there are so many in our audience who have been doing work surrounding or related to any of the acronyms that people have used, or let's just say generally inclusion, diversity, and feel that they're in a unique time where they're either very unsure or where they feel they've had to pull back. on some of
Hmm.
this work that they've been doing. And I'm just curious, how do you see that generally? Any advice or guidance you have for those in our audience about how to see this work in this time?
I mean, from my perspective, again, as an organization who was here from the beginning and helped pave the road, we don't get an opportunity to look to the left and the right to let others continue down the road. If in fact we need to reassure people that we are going to continue to do this work. Now, we can do that because we don't get much government, federal funding in that regards, right? I think um, so yeah, so we are going to and continue to do the work that we do. Again, I encourage everyone to talk to their boards and do all that. If you're watching, don't I'm not I don't play a lawyer. I wish I was on Law and Order, but that is not the case. Um, but I will say, if you are listening and I, I would do whatever you can to put a perimeter of penetration between anything that happens in your local government or in 1600 Pennsylvania. So you need to again begin to start to think about your business model, how you navigate and who you engage with, in order to put that perimeter around you so that no matter what happens, um, you will still succeed and thrive. That's one thing I think I would say. Um, because I'm not convinced that anyone's coming to save us, right? So I think it's important to do that. I think it's also important for people not to underestimate the moment. I hear too often, we've been here before. No, we haven't, right? And I think anybody who, if you talk to someone who's like 98 years old or so, they'll tell you this is reversal, right? And that's what scares them, that they thought they had done the fight. And then I think what I'm gonna do here in Chicago is really reach out to um, my colleagues in the classical arts to really say, how do we do this together? You will not survive what we're in doing it alone. And so if you do not know how to play nice in the sandbox, you get used to it. And you're gonna need creative collaborations. And you're gonna have to start to understand that there's power in um, there's power in collaboration. There's power in making an introduction to another org on behalf of them. I'm a big energy person. The more you throw out and be of real service to the world, it comes back to you. Maybe not tomorrow, but it will eventually. So I think it's gonna take a mindset shift and an acceptance of where we really are. But if people don't want to accept it, then I think they will be left behind. It same thing happened with COVID. Those who wanted to, stay the same after have had trouble. Those who evolved and said things are different, the world's different. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love how you were, just delving into this role of collaboration and partnership, because it seems like that is how so much of this important work gets done. So, as you're looking forward for Sinfonietta, any key points, things that you're really looking forward to in the next year or a couple years, as you are, now charting this path for this storied institution.
Yeah, so one of the things, again, for me, again, I come from a social justice background, so we're in the process of actually hiring a director of community and social impact. And again, that's intentional because, so many arts organizations think of their community work just kind of K through 12, but we music is always music is about civil society. Like civil societies have music in them, and so we can't forget that you know, we have more community members than just what happens in schools. So I'm being really intentional about um, redefining how and what we do in the community, which means we will go to those communities more. We're not going to require them to come to the hall, right? So, you may very well see the Sinfonietta in a Chicago project, Section 8 housing doing the work, right? You may see us going more into nursing and homes or cancer patients, etc. So we are gonna be a little more deliberate in how we service the greater Chicagoland. And so yeah, so I think I'm really excited about that. I think again supporting Mayanne and the musicians on the amazing work that they continue to do. We just had a fantastic Bollywood and Beyond concert this week was just phenomenal where the orchestra took us over 70 years of Bollywood. Then we did a Rina Ishmael piece, which was fantastic. And again, one of her tougher ones, I will say. And sprinkled in a classic, a which again I love impressionistic. It's one of my favorite periods. So we did Ravel, Mother Goose, and then we did Mayanne's first piece that she conducted when Maestro Paul Freeman handed her the baton. So it was this East meets West. Again, it's it's no coincidence that it was and is Diwali, right? Which, if you know what that is, it's the light casting out the darkness. We didn't know where the world would be when man and then put this. That's when I know we're doing the right thing. So, if anyone's watching and is like, how do you know? I know when things that I have no control over, right, align. And so I pay attention to that. So we're on the right path.
Absolutely. Well, it is such extraordinary work, and we are all so excited for your leadership coming in. And so we're almost out of time, but I always like to ask of all of my guests. So this work, obviously, being able to lead Sinfonietta and this role that you're able to play, so much excitement, the musicians. But there has to be these tough days or days where it seems some of those challenges coming at you might be insurmountable. Just wondering, as a leader, as an arts leader, any mechanisms, things that you do that help you to get through those toughest of times?
Um, I remember my what originally made me fall in love with the art form, right? I tend to go back to my first musical as Linus in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. The men's chorus of junior high, we were called Pewter Power. That was our vest and cummerbund color. Um, I'm also remembering, that you have to have purpose, right? And for me, I know why I was put on earth, which is to be a conduit of dreams, right? And so I don't forget that. And then have to do this, you've got to learn how to dance in the rain very easily. Um, and I would also probably say you got to learn how to restart your day. The power of restarting one's day is really valuable. And if you're wondering what that means, it's 11:49 a.m. currently. If I experience that disturbed me, I'd restart it like I just woke up and keep it a moving. So just remembering that don't take yourself too seriously. We're not, doing open heart surgery here, but we are providing music in a society in a world that needs it more now than ever. So you, got to be willing to be an accomplice and not an ally. And the difference is an accomplice will go to jail work. An ally, they might go a little bit and go to jail with it. I'm doing the work. So yeah.
Sidney Jackson, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything that you are doing for Sinfonietta, for Chicago, for the nation, for the world, for our art form. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having me, Aaron, in the audience. See you soon. See you in the halls.
Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Entangleism, The Small Science and Big Art of Loving Your Life, is out and available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out.